How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Ericasedc, and today we are finally looking at my new design with Levi from Northern KnifeWorks. Guys, we're looking at the MINK today. I cannot wait to tell you all about this new design coming from Northern KnifeWorks. It is amazing. I am so excited. It's everything that I had envisioned in my mind. So we are going to go in depth about this knife, talk about how it came about, all of the details about it, the drop information, pricing, everything. So let's get into it. I'm so excited. So as you guys know, I've been working with Levi from Northern KnifeWorks, creating some EDC and outdoor designs for you guys in super steels with thinner geometry, just kind of an all-around better experience and build than you're probably going to get from production knives. So a couple months ago, we dropped the Dart, and this was a very lightweight, concealable EDC knife, hunting knife, as you guys saw when we processed game with it. All around just a very small, tiny, slim blade. As you can see, it's, only like 6.5 inches long, just a little tiny knife, and these did incredibly well on the drop. They sold out within minutes, and you guys really love them. The custom orders are still coming in. And because of the success that we received from dropping the darts, we immediately jumped into a more universal EDC design for people with larger hands, people that are not looking for like a needle of a knife. So our next step was creating a really minimalistic design that was fully functional for basically everything that you will experience in your EDC tasks. Something that will probably fit larger hands better, something with a little more beef to it. So we came up with the MINK. And this is a really beautiful design. I'll hold the Dart up here for reference. So you've got, probably an inch more in total length on the MINK, but obviously a way more substantial handle here, much thicker, but there's, nothing telling you where to put your fingers or anything. I would call this a modified broomstick handle because it's not as circular as a lot of the bushcraft knives that you see with the kind of bulbous end. We gave it a little bit of a modern taper, some, contouring here where the scales kind of dip down, just like on the Dart, to just give it a little more of an aesthetic flair here. You've got not a drop point blade, but a blade with a lot of belly and just kind of a little more of a sleek, slim design, but really fully functional. No jimping, no lanyard hole, no crazy stuff, just a really simple, usable knife. So I'm just going to hold up the specs here so that you can kind of get an idea. The production model that we will be running is going to have rich light scales, but everything else will be the same. So we have 12 thou BTE. The Dart had 10 thou, very thin, but super capable. We beefed it up a little bit with the 12 thou BTE on these. We've got Cruwear at 64 HRC. I think that's a really good high hardness for this steel. Cruwear is very tough. Its edge retention is phenomenal, and in my experience, you can bring it up to that high hardness again with just like a lot of super steels, and you're not really compromising anything. So we did run them at 64 HRC. That will give you great edge retention. We have a full flat grind on these blades that have also been acid stone washed. Like I said, production model will have rich light scales. They're beautiful. It's got an earthy brown mixed in with the black. Kydex sheath per usual, and the price point on these will be $350, made in-house at Levi's shop in Georgia. Everything is hand done, hand ground, heat treated by him. The knife never leaves the shop. He literally creates it and is the one to also send it out to you. Now, I know $350, people are gonna lose their minds. That's just kind of how the custom knife game works. You're getting a really premium product with a lifetime warranty. something that never left the maker's hands. You're getting a way higher hardness on these. Super steels, you're getting premium materials. I know that the price point sounds a little crazy, but that's just kind of, you know, what it is. Otherwise, the makers would be taking a loss of profit, but these will be coming in at $350, and obviously for the next couple weeks, we're going to be really putting this to the test, just like we did with the dart, proving that it's worth the money, processing all different types of things, testing it, abusing it, and making sure it holds up to the standard. But that's the information for this. And I just want to, you know, explain a little bit about how this came about, the reasoning behind the name, all of that stuff. So there is a YouTube channel, that was a fly, on here on YouTube, and the guy's name is Joseph Carter, the Mink Man. Now, I do not watch a lot of YouTube videos about knives. I really don't. It's just not something I do. I watch, you know, my friends like Richter Knives, Motown, EDC, stuff like that, Doggone John, but I don't really watch a lot of other knife channels. They're not my jam. I do like watching outdoors channels. I like watching like bushcraft stuff. I love James from Junkyard Fox. I love more outdoorsy stuff. And this guy, Joseph Carter, he trains mink to do ratting with his dogs as pest control where he lives. And I've been watching the channel for a really long time, and this guy is incredible. He goes to fur farms and he rescues mink that are about to be processed for fur, and he brings them home and literally trains them with his pit bulls and his greyhound mixes and his patterdales, and trains the mink to go to farms with him and exterminate rat infestations. And I became obsessed with this idea of, you know, this little weaselly looking animal that is just ferocious and can do anything and goes underground and you know, kills things and works side by side with dogs and is just extremely intelligent and kind of like an all-around really useful animal that people underestimate. People would find mink as like pests, but in reality they help control the pests. So, you know, instead of using poisons and traps and all of these really inhumane processes to exterminate rats, Joseph brings his pack of dogs that are fully trained and the mink, and he does massive exterminations of rats on huge farms that provide us with food, stuff like that. So I kind of became obsessed with the mink as an animal, and I wanted to create a knife that kind of resembled the essence of the mink, a sleek but muscular and powerful tool that you can kind of do anything with and bring anywhere and really rely on it, you know? And so we ended up calling this the mink because this is, in my opinion, the perfect all-around outdoor EDC utility knife that I could brainstorm in my head. So we'll start at the end here. Like I said, we have a kind of a modified taper. We really wanted to keep a very simple handle that will fit any hand, whether it's big or small. There are no choils, there's no jimping, there's no curves, there's just nothing. This is a very contoured, rounded handle on the sides to be comfortable. And then we have just something a little more cosmetically pleasing as opposed to like a full-blown broomstick handle. So we've got the taper, really beautiful palm-filling handle here. I have, you guys would say small hands, but for a female, I have pretty large hands. And if I choke up to the ricasso area on this, kind of near the sharpening choil, I still have, I would say, a little over an inch left. So anyone with larger hands, this should fit you very well. I can also kind of back up here and maybe cover a little bit more, but have some hanging out in the back. You can do all different types of you know, positions here to hold it. We also made sure that this was tapered and angled away so that if you do want to use your thumb on the back, it actually flows with your hand. You can see my arm comes up, thumb, and then it kind of shoots up and it all goes together there in case you're someone who needs to push away from you or wrap it around, pull toward you for cuts, okay? Nothing happening throughout. Like I said, just a really simplistic, easy design here, very ergonomic. And then typically I like to run the tip, the point of my knife, a little more centerline with the rest of the design. So typically I would like the tip to be a little lower. However, with this design, I wanted it to come down here, come up, and then almost do like a little S and swoop up like this. I think this makes the design really comfortable when you're using the knife like this. It's just a little less stress on your hand to have it kind of a straight shot as opposed to going down. So if you are someone who uses your knife like this for draw cuts or for precise work, your finger should really easily just fit completely with this. And it wraps right around. It fits perfectly in your hand. And then we have a really nice tip on this. It's not too thin at all. You don't have to worry about it. But with the full flat ground blade, you are really thinning that Cruwear out to a great BTE. I think 12 thou is awesome for I wouldn't say like a hard use EDC knife, but something that you don't really have to worry about using, I guess. And the full flat grind just makes it super slicey. We have a really nice sharpening choil there for those freehand sharpeners that enjoy that. And it's not an overly done choil, you know, it's just useful there. Beautiful, good amount of belly here. Really beautiful blade. And as always, Levi does incredible edges on all of his knives. This is the factory edge from Levi, and it's just stunning. And then we did the stonewash blade. Cruwear is a semi-stainless steel. It will definitely take a patina and it can corrode. It's a little trickier to do that. But we did the acid stonewash because, in my opinion, with the rich light scales that we're running, I think that is going to make a really rustic look for this knife. They're very earthy looking scales, so with the dark acid stonewash, I think it's just going to be a beautiful mix, and it's also adding some of that corrosion resistance to this steel, especially because we ran it so hard. But this should be kind of an all-around really useful utility knife, EDC knife, hunting knife, outdoors knife. It should be able to do a lot of the stuff that you throw at it. So obviously, before these hit the market, we are doing the thorough testing. Levi's testing, I'm testing. The same exact thing that happened with the dart. We did not have to make a single change for the dart. It was a really useful design in the end, and we didn't make any you know, changes to it whatsoever. And people are literally ordering the same exact dart that I have. Somebody literally actually got the same exact one made. It was really cool. So hopefully the same outcome with the MINK here. I'm hoping we don't have to change anything because we've done so much testing with other knives and recognized what we would change about those and just worked through so many different products. It's kind of easy after all these years to be like, okay, we're gonna pinpoint this, 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 and this, throw it all in a blender, and that's what we get. You know, unless the heat treat is garbage, basically, which with Levi, it's not. The knife should perform very well. So obviously we'll record that before they hit the market, but this is what you'll be expecting right here. Absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna do some size comparisons just so you guys can get a little bit of a better idea of the size and, you know, thickness and stuff of this knife. And we'll also do a paper cut test so you can see what your maker's edge will be like when it gets to you. So I'm just gonna lower you guys down a little bit. That way I don't have to hold everything above my head. Oh, you guys are falling over here. Okay, so do a paper cut test real quick. Cruwear 64 HRC, done in-house, everything in-house, custom, heat treat, custom everything. Absolutely flawless. Let's take a look at some common size comparisons here with the MINK. First, we'll run a Swiss Army knife. This is the Super Tinker. Okay. So just kind of a classic Swiss Army knife. In terms of length, we're actually pretty close. Okay. Next up, we'll do the Benchmade 940 Osborne. Purposely picked the orange one to match. And guys, obviously you can get a custom MINK if you want right away as well. You can put an order in for that. It's just the production rich light ones are going to be made and released the 3rd week of May. But you can always put in, if you trust me, if you trust Levi's work, you can put in a custom order now for a MINK because he already has the profiles cut out and everything. So if you want this orange G10 or whatever different color, you can absolutely get it. Anyway, okay, so there is a Benchmade 940 next to the MINK. The Benchmade 940 definitely has some length on the MINK for sure. Okay. Love this knife. We will also bring in the Benchmade bug out. Everybody's got a bug out. Okay, so pretty close. And I will say the bug out was a huge inspiration for this knife. I think that the bug out is one of the best designs ever made. I wish that it was at a more reasonable price point. I wish that the inflation wasn't so brutal with Benchmade, but in terms of just the literal actual design, I really enjoy the simplicity of the bug out. So I kind of wanted the MINK to be a modified fixed blade version of the bug out with a little more belly, a little less of a drop point blade there, full flat ground instead with no swedge or anything like that. Like, I just wanted this to be a really simple, wicked, slicey knife. Bring in the Spyderco Para 3 next. This one is wearing some Rips Garage Tech skins on there. Very cool. Again, pretty close in size, pretty close in length. Okay, so we're looking at, you know, not quite 8 inches, maybe 7.5, something like that. I actually should have written that on the paper. And lastly, we'll do a Chris Reeve small Sebenza 31, which they're nearly identical. And I did take kind of that belly idea from the Sebenza and threw that into that design there. You can kind of see how it's got belly, but it's elongated, okay? Like, it stretches. That belly kind of slowly progresses. It's not snub nose like a Case Sodbuster, but we definitely have more belly than a lot of knives, and I wanted it to just be kind of stretched out, pulled out, elongated, and still have plenty of belly there for your cuts. So I'm sure you can kind of see it's like a Chris Reeve a little bit. So there are some size comparisons. I'm really excited about these guys. This is kind of like my dream all-around utility knife design for a fixed blade. I have been preaching about lack of ergonomics since I started the channel, and this is a beautiful iteration of that concept. You literally don't have anything telling your hands where to go, your fingers where to go, no choils, no crazy stuff, no nothing, just a slight kind of pull up in here. It kind of concaves, and it just feels so incredible. Like, you can really grip on this thing, and there's just no hot spots. Like, you can use this in any manner, doing whatever work, whittling, wood processing, anything you want, and there are just not going to be any hot spots because there's nothing to this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, completely rounded, contoured, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really excited to show this to you guys as we record some testing with it. Just beautiful fit and finish, flawless work by Levi. Look at that. I'm really excited about this, guys. I think this is going to be an absolute user. I love how comfortable this is. You can really just hold this however you want, and it's super comfy. And that's one of the most important things about a knife, which I feel like gets really overlooked. We've had some recent issues with that exact concept, is a knife can be really cool and slicey and in a super steel, but if it's not comfortable, you're not going to use it. You're just simply not. If it's rigid, if it has weird cutouts, if it's sharp, if it's pointy, cumbersome to carry and use, you're not going to use it, guys. So that was kind of the biggest thought process for this design, was just making something really comfortable for your hand, and something that was way more universal than the Dart. As amazing as this is, and quite frankly, I think that the Dart would work for anyone. I think people look at it and think it's too small and too thin, but until you use it, you don't realize how comfy it is. It really is. But I think this is just going to simply be a little more filling for people. So with that being said, guys, that's all I have to show you today. Put your questions and comments down below. I will get to them as best as I can. Thank you for looking. Levi, thanks again for the collab on this design. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to get these out to people. As always, guys, go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. And I will see you on the next video. I love you so, so much, fam. Take care.